So, brutally simple. Was this fun enough? I guess so. I guess by the low standard of the answer the call thing, whatever that was. Yeah, this was fun enough for what it is. It's not much of a story. I guess the story is this ghost busting family will become a family of Ghostbusters, and we get a couple of new interesting characters. The minor characters actually were very fascinating. But overall, this felt like there's a lot of plots and subplots. It doesn't really add to very much. We focus on Phoebe, she meets a female ghost, yada, 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 yada. The jokes worked in a few places, but for the most part, they did not work. Special effects were very impressive in a few places. In other places, they were kind of lazy. The music was really, really strong. I was surprised how good the music was. In the beginning sections, I thought it was a very nice blend of new and old. It was very, very well done. So the music actually stood out as being fairly well done. But again, this is not really a sequel to Ghostbusters 2. It doesn't feel like really a full movie. And with Afterlife, that was fine. They just could not get around the death of an actor, so they just had that problem. So Afterlife's many flaws is like, well, yes, but they didn't have many options. With this one, it seems like, okay, fine, we're progressing the story, but then they don't really progress the story. And I think what was troubling to me is that they're taking back what was most interesting about Ghostbusters 1 and even part 2 was the dark, cynical edge. And granted, yes, Ghostbusters 2 kind of went very corporate as well. However, it still had a little bit of that cynical edge that made the first one so charming. And even as a kid, I didn't understand everything happening in Ghostbusters, but it was interesting enough that when I grew up, I wanted to look back upon it and I realized how brilliant it was. This one is just what it is. It just feels like a very functional corporate product. However, if you just want Ghostbusters nostalgia, this will work for you. Some fans consider this really great. They got their checklist, they got everything they wanted. I felt mainly hollow and empty after it, but there were good moments, some funny moments. The original Ghostbusters do show up. They're kind of just cameos, but the cameos are well done in certain places. But again, nothing really to brag about. I will give this, I think, being generous, a 6 out of 10. I think I'm being generous. And I will say in conclusion, please give Examining Kubrick, my channel where I focus a little bit more centrally on cinema. Give that a chance, and please consider supporting the channel on Patreon. Again, there's not much to review in terms of a no spoiler review. It's just felt like a lot of plot lines are not going anywhere, and it mercilessly rips off a few films from the 2000s and does not really improve upon the Ghostbusters mythos, in my humble opinion. But yeah, sections of it were fun enough, but it did drag in too many places. So it's a very, very uneven film. I would much prefer to see the Kong film again.